What the hell is that doing on my land? You ever walk out to your own damn property after 3 months away, only to find $1 million jet parked right where your granddad used to grow wheat? That's what happened to me. Picture this. I'm staring at a shiny, private runway carved dead through my family's fields. Jet engines whining like they own the place. And all I'd done was leave for 3 months, just 3 months to help my father fight cancer down in Houston. When I finally dragged my weary bones back home, thinking maybe, just maybe, I'll get to hear the birds in the wheat and taste that old country air. Nope. Instead, there's Vivian Ashworth Sterling, H.O., a royalty, standing at the top of the jet stairs, waving like she's Jackie O at a parade. Welcome back, darling. Hope you don't mind it. We finished the community improvement project while you were dealing with family issues. Mind, I could barely choke out the words. My grandfather's legacy paved over with asphalt and runway lights. She just smirks, climbing up into her flying palace. Was your land, she throws over her shoulder. Check your mailbox. All the legal papers are there. Let me tell you, Vivian didn't know it yet, but she just picked a fight with the wrong man, and I was about to use every trick she'd ever played right back on her. Now, 3 months ago, my life looked a whole lot different. I had a 200-acre heritage farm handed down by my grandfather and a government job that actually meant something. My name's Griffin DeLoqua, Monday through Friday. I'm the FAA Regional Director for the Southwest Division. I'm the guy who tells the planes where to go from Dallas to New Mexico. But on weekends, I was just a farm kid trying to keep the family legacy alive. You ever smell wheat in August, sweet and vanilla, mixing with the steam off your coffee? Or hear the crunch of those stalks under your boots? At harvest, feel that dirt that still remembers your granddad's calloused hands. That's not just farming. That's memory legacy, something you feel all the way down in your bones. 15 years back, Willowbrook Estates started growing up around our farm. First, it was charming city folks, loving the authentic rural character. Our little operation made their property values soar. Tech execs, oil money, suddenly everyone wanted a slice of real Texas. Folks brought buyers to our festivals, bought our corn for their dinner parties. Sometimes when their shiny mowers died, they'd borrow my tractor. And I'd laugh about it because who gets mad at a neighbor trying to cut 5 acres of grass? But times change. Leadership changes. Enter Vivian, the queen bee. Her family built half the strip malls between here and Austin, and she looked at farmland and saw nothing but potential. Potential for jets, not crops. I remember her picking her way across my field boots too clean for real dirt. That eastern field would make a gorgeous community rec area, she told me like it was a fact of nature. It makes gorgeous food, Vivian, I said, wiping my hands. She just smiled, eyes cold as a blue norther. Progress demands sacrifice, darling. And then Dad got sick. Pancreatic cancer. I barely had time to pack before I was driving him to Houston, sleeping on chairs that smelled like disinfectant, and loss counting the seconds by the beeps of a heart monitor. That's when the vultures circled. 2 weeks after I left, Vivian called an emergency HOA session. Claimed my irrigation system was flooding the neighbors. Complete nonsense, but she brought paperwork. Scared folks with legal mumbo jumbo. Emergency powers. Protect the public. You want to know how they steal a farm? Here's the playbook. Step 1. File an emergency petition while the owner's unreachable grieving. Step 2. Hire your friends to appraise the land as agricultural, not aviation. That's $2,000 an acre instead of 50. Step 3. Dump that joke of a payment into escrow, call it fair compensation. Step 4. Start pouring concrete before the dust settles. I found all this out from Mrs. Rosalie, my neighbor, God bless her, who'd brought soup to Dad's chemo. She called me crying. They threatened my taxes if I voted no. Marcus, I'm so sorry. My own bank 30 years. My money sat there, suddenly froze my loans. Policy changes. They mumbled. Farm hands got pink slips, told I'd agreed to sell. I even got a fake sympathy card from Vivian's lawyer, husband, Reginald Sterling. Condolences on your loss. Please find enclosed property transfer documents. Dad died still asking about the fall harvest, and I lied, told him everything was fine. Because what the hell else do you say when your family's legacy is being bulldozed while you hold his dying hand? I didn't sleep those last nights. I just sat drinking bitter hospital coffee, staring at legal papers so precise they were almost beautiful. Emergency condemnation for public safety, it said. Proper compensation deposited. All procedures followed. Reginald's firm had crafted the perfect crime, except they missed a few things. Real emergencies don't come with 3-month planning sessions, and federal law says you got to notify the owner. That's not while he's watching his father die. That's in person in writing. They thought I was an easy mark, a grieving, ignorant farmer, too broke to fight back. First thing I did when I got home, I called Rebecca Martinez out of Austin. Not your average country lawyer. Rebecca's the kind of woman who's made grown developers cry 3 counties over. She showed up at my kitchen table, spread out the HOA paperwork, and grinned. They screwed up bad, Marcus. This isn't an emergency, it's a land grab. Your case has legs. While Rebecca built our legal case, I went to work. Trail cameras went up. Old security tech I'd picked up from FAA. A training, nothing fancy. That's how I learned Vivian wasn't just building a runway, she was building herself an empire. Every weekend there were parties, champagne fancy dresses, jets landing where corn used to grow. She'd made glossy brochures for exclusive charter service. Was charging folks $500 a month to store their planes. My cameras caught something else. Late one night, her voice cut through the crickets. She and County Commissioner Bradley, laughing about how cancer timing was a gift. They knew exactly when I'd be gone. They'd planned it for months. My dad's sickness wasn't just an opportunity, it was their weapon. Here's the funny part. Vivian even hired a PI to research my finances. Poor guy spent weeks trying to figure out what FAA regional director really means. His report, which Rebecca got in discovery, said I was probably some sort of airport maintenance worker. If only. Rebecca filed our lawsuit due process violations, fake emergency fraudulent appraisal. But Vivian wasn't done. She hit back. Suddenly, my bosses at the FAA are getting anonymous complaints, abuse of power vendetta. Congressmen calling about my fitness for service. Next thing I know, government agencies are swarming the farm, EPA, OSHA, even the IRS sniffing around. Nothing sticks, but the message is clear. Surrender or drown in red tape. But then we found the smoking gun, a $500,000 payment from the HOA to Lanier Aviation Consulting. I recognized the name, Laniers owned by Reginald Sterling. They'd been registering jets for the HOA board for over a year. These folks weren't just stealing my land, they were building a secret airport using shell companies right under the FAA's nose. Thing is, they never guessed what I actually do. Every registration, every flight plan, every permit in the Southwest. It all runs through me, and Vivian's operation about to light up my radar like a damn Christmas tree. I started documenting everything, tail numbers, passenger logs, violations. They wanted to play in my world fine, because in aviation, I don't just make the rules, I enforce them. Autumn wind started carrying diesel instead of dew, but a farmer's patient. Revenge is sweetest when it's perfectly timed. Rebecca's lawsuit landed like a freight train, but Vivian just doubled down. County inspectors crawling in my property, citing me for contamination and noise. Fire marshal, building inspectors, animal control, one after the other. But 30 years in federal service teaches you where to look. Every complaint. Same phone number. Sterling and Associates. Malicious prosecution, federal charge. But Vivian wasn't done. One evening, checking my trail cameras, I heard her talking to some fancy consultant. We need full commercial operations by Memorial Day, she said. Premium clients, premium access. The guy told her, "You need FAA certification." She just smiled. "We have friends in federal aviation. This Griffin problem won't last much longer." I spent that weekend digging, found her friend was Deputy Administrator Harold Blackwood. The man had taken 50 grand from the Sterlings 3 levels above me at FAA. High enough to ruin a career. But guess what? I have database access he doesn't even know exists. Each day, more jets came unregistered, unpermitted, breaking every law in the book. Then my surveillance caught Vivian on the phone with Harold. "Can't you just transfer him to Alaska Laughter? There are ways to make problems disappear." Monday, I get an email. Efficiency review. My position redundant. Signed by Blackwood. They weren't just stealing my land, they were ending my career. But, in their arrogance, they left a trail. A mile wide, bribes illegal, pressure conspiracy, all in official communications they never imagined I'd see. That night, sitting in my kitchen, surrounded by printouts that could topple the mighty in Washington, it hit me. This wasn't about my farm anymore. This was about showing these bastards what happens when you back the wrong man into a corner. I dialed the FBI Financial Crimes Division. Agent Sarah Rosalie answered cool as you please. "Agent Rosalie, this is Griffin Deloqua, FA, A Southwest. I have evidence of federal aviation law violations, political corruption, conspiracy involving a deputy administrator. How soon can we meet?" Next morning, I hand her the evidence at a truck stop diner. The smell of diesel and bacon grease reminds me of Dad. "These are serious allegations," she says, flipping through my royal flush of bank records and recordings. "This Blackwood character, he's already on our radar. Your case might crack something big." I go home, and now the county tax man's in my driveway. "Mr. Deloqua, your property's been reassessed at commercial aviation rates. $47,000 a year in taxes due in 30 days. The man couldn't look me in the eye. Their plan: tax me out, bankrupt me, then save me by buying up the land for pennies. But escalation goes both ways. "Sarah, I said they just weaponized the tax system." She grins. "Funny how sudden tax increases trigger federal audits, especially after whistleblower retaliation." Vivian fires her next shot, a media smear. "Rogue federal employee terrorizes community leaders," the local paper screams. They paint me as an unstable, vengeful bureaucrat. But that night, my cameras catch Vivian with 3 suits near the runway. The audio's clear as day. "The Griffin problem requires permanent resolution," she says. "Administrative accident budget cuts, performance review, irregularities, that'll cost extra. 200 grand offshore. They weren't just trying to fire me, they were arranging my destruction." That's when Mrs. Rosalie comes by, shaking tears in her eyes. "Marcus, I'm so sorry they came last night. Said they'd ruin my grandson's military career if I helped you." Through her tears, she pulls out an old flip phone. "Honey, I've been recording everything since they threatened my taxes." That's when it hit me. Vivian had made enemies everywhere, bulldozing neighbors for years. I called Agent Rosali. "We've got federal bribery witness intimidation conspiracy on tape. Tomorrow sound good for arrest warrants?" She laughs. "Perfect." Anne Griffin bring Mrs. Rosalie. Her testimony just made this a RISO case. I spent that night combing through HOA records Rebecca had dumped on me. What I found made my hands shake. The HOA wasn't just broke. They were criminally broke. $3 million in infrastructure bonds, money borrowed for community improvements that cost triple the estimates. All paid to Sterling Development, Vivian's family. They'd cooked the books, then loaned the HOA the money at 18% interest to pay themselves back. The shell companies running the jets, all traced to Sterling Family Holdings, Lonier Aviation, Southwest Premier Charter, dozens of fake companies, a real illegal airline, my stolen land as the hub. Organized crime hiding under community improvement. But Vivian never expected the airport janitor was the FAA regional director. I don't just oversee aviation, I control the permits, the databases, the law. Every flight, every passenger, every dollar became evidence. That's when the plan hit me. Labor Day. Willowbrook's big celebration. Vivian inviting congressmen, donors, investors. Let them commit every crime imaginable, while my surveillance caught it all. When they felt untouchable, I'd bring down the hammer. Hidden cameras everywhere disguised as irrigation lines, Dad taught me to fix. Audio pickups, motion sensors, transponder receivers, all legit FAA equipment. Nobody questioned a regional director improving security. By mid-June, my system caught Vivian pitching exclusive political access to investors for 50 grand apiece. July, international charters, customs violations, tax fraud. Criminals always overreach. August, I caught her on the phone with Blackwood certification costs extra. 2 million? Done. And Griffin. After Labor Day. No loose ends. The day arrived. Helicopters circle Willowbrook. Luxury jets land every 10 minutes. Congressmen, state officials, business tycoons, even Blackwood steps out of a limo. My earpiece buzzes. Your boss just showed up, Agent Rosalie says. This keeps getting better. The ceremony begins. Vivian in a designer dress at the podium. Today marks a new chapter for our community. The crowd applauds theft as progress. Blackwood announces full federal certification. Which, of course, never happened. I walk out straight through the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Griffin Deloqua, and I just want to thank you for making this the most well-documented federal crime scene in Texas history. Vivian tries to cut me off, but I hold up my hand. For 6 months, you've been part of a conspiracy involving land theft, illegal aviation, federal fraud, bribery, and conspiracy to commit murder, all recorded by FAA surveillance under my authority. I give the signal. Helicopters descend. FBI agents in black gear drop from the sky. FBI, nobody move. Congressmen diving behind cars. Business execs frantically deleting phones. There's nowhere to run. Agents at every exit, every aircraft. Rosalie takes the mic. This is Agent Sarah Rosalie, FBI. For 6 months, we've investigated systematic theft of farmland, illegal aviation, political corruption, and conspiracy to commit murder. Arrests begin. Vivian, hands cuffed behind her back, screams, "I have rights." Rosalie smiles. And you have the right to remain silent, which I strongly recommend since everything you've said has been recorded as evidence. News helicopters buzz overhead. Reporters swarm me. How long have you been planning this? I look into the camera. Since the day they stole my family's land while I was watching my father die. Nobody steals from American farmers and gets away with it. Not on my watch. Jets are seized, assets confiscated. Vivian, Reginald, Blackwood, all face down on the asphalt, the very runway they stole from us. Every crooked official hauled away. The crowd erupts in applause. I catch Vivian's eye through the glass, her hate and disbelief worth every sleepless night. 6 months later, I'm walking through my grandfather's wheat fields again. The runway's gone, the land restored, and the criminal sentences read like justice itself. Vivian, 12 years. Reginald, 15. Blackwood, 20. County Commissioner, 8, and a lifetime ban. Every penny, 53 million in seized assets distributed to the families they tried to ruin. My share, I built the Heritage Farm Protection Foundation. 67 farming families saved in 6 months. Rebecca Martinez runs the clinic now. Agent Rosalie. She's our chief investigator. We fight for every farmer who faces what we did. You know, the moral hit me later in a quiet moment. I realized it's not the arrests or the headlines. It's that knowledge is power, but only if you're willing to use it. I didn't win because I got lucky. I won because I learned the rules and used them better than the bullies who thought they owned the world. Every federal regulation I knew, every contact, every tool from 30 years of service, it all became my shield and my sword when I needed it most. And let's be real, there's always going to be bullies, and they'll come for you when you're weakest. So what do? You can let them break you, or you can learn their game and flip the board. I made sure no one would ever steal from my family again. But more than that, I made sure nobody could do it to anyone else. So here's my question. What skills or knowledge do you have that your own HOA or your boss or your bully doesn't know about ever turned the tables when someone tried to take what was yours? Drop your story below because you never know who's fighting the same fight, and maybe your experience is the edge they need. And if you believe real justice should always come with real consequences, hit that subscribe. Because the only thing worse than getting pushed around is staying down when you've got the power to fight.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.